Namaste. Namaste and welcome to this short video practice. Today we're going to look at a number of different things that you can do with bridge pose to inform different parts of your body. So whether it be you're trying to strengthen your glute muscles and possibly a little bit into your hamstrings, or if you're trying to strengthen your core, or if you're trying to release your hip flexors. So we're going to do all three of these things with a bridge pose and a few pieces of equipment. So today I have got a block here, which is quite a firm block, but with a little bit of sponge, so it'd be comfortable to rest on, and it can be used in an upright position, a sideways position, or flat to offer three different heights. And I've also got two squashy balls. So these are Pilates balls. This one has got about a third of the air let out of it, and this one has about half the air let out of it. If you have a back that doesn't enjoy back bending, that maybe you sometimes feel tight in that low back area or pinched, then you want a squashier ball. And if you don't have a squashy ball, you can use a nice soft cushion or a Ziploc bag full of air, I'm told, does the job. I have never tried it myself, so but you might want to give it a go. So let us just put our equipment to one side so it's easy to get hold of and come down to lying on our backs. So we want to start our practice with just finding our way into constructive rest. That is with the knees bent, the feet on the floor, and just allowing the arms to rest away from the body and the back of the head to really find the floor. So people are often tight in the back of the neck or across the shoulders. And so much of that is posture related, but also just the head is heavy. The head is a heavy part of the body. And just by allowing the floor to take the weight of the head, maybe giving a little few nods backwards and forwards or circles of the nose, we can begin to soften some of the effort in the back of the body and allow this part of the body to relax. Here on the floor, with the weight of the whole body on the floor, we can gently tilt the pelvis backwards and forwards. So I haven't said, but I ought to say, if you are a little bit rounded in your upper back, sometimes lying flat down can be uncomfortable. So just pop something underneath the back of your head. It's not wrong to use support to help the body be comfortable. And we're not really concerned so much with what happens in the upper body today, apart from it being quite passive and a place of stability. So a little tilt of the pelvis up and down. We're not lifting the hips from the floor. We're literally just massaging that sacrum, that fused part of the spine that joins the two hip bones. We're just massaging that into the floor in a really nice way. And then we're going to imagine in the center in stillness that we are attached to the floor by that fused piece of spine, and we're going to tilt the pelvis up and down. So I'm sliding my right hip towards my right ankle and then sliding my left hip towards my left ankle. And the other side does the opposite. So as you slide your right hip down, your left hip comes up towards the waist. And again, we're not lifting from the floor in any way. We're just using that point of attachment, of connection, of grounding to do a little massage, self-massage of the low back. Very nice. So we have done backwards and forwards and side to side, and we are going to reach for our balls. So it doesn't matter which ball you choose, and we don't need both. I just wanted to show you the other one for showing. We're going to lift the hips and just plonk them down on the ball behind us. And we want the low body to be heavy onto that ball. And we don't really need to be lifted very high. I've got quite a bendy back, so I enjoy being up a bit higher. But if you don't, low is good. And you can actually do all of this just on a block or a cushion or on the floor if you want to. It just gives you a bit more space being lifted here. We're going to let the arms rest away from the body. The ball is not stable, so we have to use our feet and the stability of our shoulders and head onto the floor for support. And we're just going to sway the hips a little from side to side. So we did a tilting movement, which was more of a lift of one hip and a lower of the other. But this is now a side swaying movement. So the whole body is moving from one side to the other in that hip area, which is really nice. And again, it's quite massaging, particularly over the ball. And then in the center, we can begin those backwards and forwards tilts again. So here, we're thinking about a bowl of water being on the abdomen. We're tilting the water towards the chin and then towards the toes. So we're doing it quite a sort of, I was going to say unilateral, that's the wrong word. I just mean linear. So in a linear plane, just backwards and forwards, no tilting, no twisting, just this rocking movement. And as we do that, you've got to really work some of the deeper postural muscles to make that happen. And we're going to slow the movement down. Sorry, not slow the movement down. We're going to make the movement smaller, speed the movement up. So we do a really nice tilt, 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 tilt. But nice and small so that it's barely noticeable from outside the body and our knees don't move and nothing above our waist moves, but we can feel the activation of our tummy muscles, deeper postural muscles as well, maybe the buttocks a little bit too. And then coming to stillness in the center, and we are going to do that tilt from side to side. So that bowl of water, you're sloshing the water out on the left and then on the right. And that is much more of a twisting motion. Just do as much as feels good to you. Once we start doing it quite big, you'll notice the knees moving from side to side. Then we're going to bring the knees to steadiness and make that movement much smaller and a little quicker. Doesn't need to be super quick, but you might go from side to side to side to side, trying to make the movement really tiny so those deeper muscles have to work. And you can really switch on your abdominal muscles here to do helping, but it's these ones along the bottom that are doing most of the work here. Then we're going to come to steadiness in the center. And we'll just give ourselves those big sways from side to side to loosen off any tension that we might be feeling. And then as we come to center, we're going to do something called a pelvic clock. So you imagine your bowl of water and your chin is 12 and your toes are 6. And we are just going to allow the water to slosh out of the rim of that bowl as we go from 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And just going around a few times in a clockwise direction. Doesn't matter which way you're facing for that. And then go a few times around in the other direction as well. And if you can, once we've done a few of these to each side, come to doing the first side again, but first direction again, but make it really tiny so the knees aren't moving. It's just the pelvis rocking around on your ball as if you were rocking around the clock. Have to get a nice, I don't know, what was that, the 60s, 50s or 60s rock and roll reference in, and then going in the opposite direction. Again, really, really small. It's quite hard to do and talk at the same time, I have to say. But concentrating on using those deeper core muscles to do the work. When you're ready, coming back to center, we might like to just gently extend one leg and give it a little bit of a wave. If you're waving the sole of your foot to someone, and then extend the other leg, same thing. If that feels too pinchy in your low back, just do a couple of those lovely hip sways from side to side in the center here. Awesome sauce. We are going to gently lift the hips, only enough to ease the ball out and let the hips come all the way down to the floor. should feel amazing as you do that, and just let everything relax there. Now, I like to counterpose with some gentle knee swaying. So I have to be quite strong across the core here, across the belly muscles, just noticing, going slowly enough that you notice the activation of these oblique muscles down the sides as well. Lovely. And it's really nice just to move the hips that way. Eases out any tension, holding patterns or effort we've got left. And then extending both legs, feet wide, knees bent, doing some ankle circles. And that helps to roll the thigh bones and the hip sockets just enough to ease off. We go the opposite way as well. We can enjoy a nice stretch through the upper body if it feels good. You can stretch one side of the body and then the other. Do whatever feels nice to come back to center and place the feet on the floor again. So here we're going to think about the effort that we make to do bridge pose. So we're going to draw the elbows down by the sides of the body so the palms face each other across the body, and roll the backs of the shoulders, the upper arms, and the head into the floor. And then firming the belly muscles, pressing into the feet and just tilting the pelvis up and seeing where we can lift to, and then gently lowering down. So it doesn't matter how high you come up, it's all about exploring how that feels in the body. Maybe if you would like to, you can come up a little higher each time, using the upper body for that sense of leveraged support, but noticing what works in the back of your body. So I often feel this more in my hamstrings than in my glutes because my hamstrings are really strong. But we're trying to feel the gluteus muscles, the buttocks working. So at the top of this movement, we are going to squeeze our butts like we're trying not to pass wind, and keep that squeeze as we lower the hips towards the floor. And then we're going to try and keep that squeeze. So we're never relaxing. We keep that squeeze and press up using that squeeze to really lift the hips up. Still pressing gently into the backs of the arms and the back of the head as well. So the squeeze is on. We release down, but we don't release the squeeze. We're still squeezing. We release up. We maybe encourage a bit of extra squeeze at the top of the movement because that's where it's easiest to do it, and squeeze on the way down as well. We're going to take a rest here. Just stretch the legs out. Oh, give them a little roll from side to side. Maybe a few ankle circles, anything else that works. Now, I put my ball to one side, but for those of you who struggle with pinching sensations in the low back, you might enjoy having something to squeeze between your knees. So you don't actually have to squeeze it at all, but by keeping it in place, just enough effort to keep the ball where it is, you encourage your inner thighs to do a little bit of work here, which makes it easier for your low back. So we're going to place the elbows down, roll the backs of the shoulders, back to the arms, back of the head into the floor, press into the feet, feel that activation across the buttocks, and then gently lift. At the top of the movement, we also want to feel a bit of lift in the belly muscles. We're going to think about not passing wind by squeezing our butts as hard as we can, probably quite good practice for your average yoga class, and then keeping that squeeze. Release the hips towards the floor. They don't have to go all the way down, but we're trying to get as low down as we can, keeping that squeeze on, and then press through the feet and press the hips up with the buttocks to lift. So if you do 5 of these nice and slowly, you'll be doing really well. If you can manage 10, that is fantastic. But we don't want to over fatigue ourselves. We have got other things to do. So we are just going to do, let's say 3 more. 3 more. 3 more would be great. I think that makes it about 10 in total with the ones we did in the first round. just keeping that squeeze on. Oh my word, holding on for dear life, trying not to be rude, trying not to pass wind. And that just helps us to really activate the butt muscles. You can feel them working if you prod yourself. And as you come down this time, again, we're going to relax. Just if you've got something between your knees, like a ball, a block, or a cushion, pass it into your hands and then stretch out the legs. Really nice. Give them a wiggle around. Ease out the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, particularly in that space just at the buttocks where they join the thighs by drawing the knees into the chest, giving the knees a little huggle. Which would be lovely, lovely. Sorry, I'm babbling now. Right, we are going to do the same thing again. So ball or cushion or block between the knees if you want to. If you don't need it, you don't have to use it. I find it helps me just to think a little bit more about keeping the motion more contained. Elbows back to the arms, shoulders back of the head on the floor, press into the feet, initiate that squeeze, draw the pelvic floor inwards and upwards, lift the belly muscles, lift the hips. And this time we're going to pause here and gently tip the left side of the pelvis up and then lower, and then right side of the pelvis up and then lower. So you're tilting from side to side like a twist. So as you lift the right side up, we don't want to drop the left super much, but maybe just a touch. So if you had a bowl of water on your tummy, you'd be sloshing the water out from side to side, probably also towards your chin, given the position that we're in, but thinking more about the side to side action. We're trying to keep that effort in the back of the body all of the time as we move from side to side. You can make the movement smaller and faster. And then gently release all the way down. Oh, feels so good. Release the ball, the block, the cushion, whatever you're using between your knees, if you are. And just take a nice long stretch through the body. Wiggle the feet from side to side, lengthen the legs out. Maybe stretch out the sides of the body if it feels good to you. And if you'd like to, you can bend the knees to do a little spinal twisting here. Really, really firm and contained across the belly muscles. Nice and controlled. There's no flopping legs here. It's all controlled all of the time. And if you'd like to, you can also bend your knees into your chest. Hug them towards you. Make any motions that feel good. So if you feel that you have been doing something with your buttock muscles and you give yourself an opportunity to lengthen them out, then it will help you to do a little bit more next time. And by resting the muscles in between practices that we do, we get more from the muscle each activation, which is great. So we're going to come back to doing bridges again, but this time we are going to march in our bridges. So again, elbows down by the side, rolling the elbows, upper arms, shoulders, shoulder blades, back of the head into the floor. We're going to bring the feet a bit closer together, press into the feet to lift the hips up. And it doesn't matter how high you go, there are no prizes for being super bendy up here. You're actually better off being in a more neutral position to activate that posterior chain. So we are going to press into the right foot and press into the upper arms, and then we're lifting the left knee towards us and touching that toe to the floor, but just lightly. Left knee in and out. It's like you're marching one leg. We are going to do 2 more of these, really pressing into that right foot. Last one. And then in the center, if you need to release down and come back up, you can. But in the center, if you can just simply come to have both feet on the floor, re-establish that effort in the upper body for leverage, press into the left foot and draw the right knee in and out. Just a light touch of the toes to the floor. We're not really putting any weight into that foot as it comes down, thinking about the lift behind the body and active belly muscles as well. Last one. Very nice. Pressing into both feet to lift the hips and then gently lower. Oh, feels so good. Let's stretch out the legs, give the legs a little bit of a wave from side to side. Awesome sauce. So any releasing movements that feel good, you can do now, maybe a little twist. It might be that you want to do more of a twist where you have one leg wrapped over the other. It was always nice to lengthen this part of the body after it's been used. We don't need to work super hard to lengthen most people because we sit a lot. So if you sit a lot, then you're already quite lengthened in that part of the body. And for those who don't sit a lot, of course, it can be very useful to do things. We're going to do our final bridge practice, which is really, I don't really, it's a yin practice anyway. But we're going to use this as a relief for the hip flexors. So taking your block or a stack of books, whatever you've got to hand, we're going to lift the hips and place the block underneath. We don't need to be high here, but for those who have a bendier back, you might enjoy being slightly higher up. I'm actually going to do it on this low setting because I find it's the one where I get the most from this practice without having any stress of being in a really back bended position. So once the hips are raised, we have got a passive bridge pose. So we can switch off these buttock muscles, switch off the muscles at the backs of the legs as well. We don't need to help support the body. The body is in the position supported by the prop and we can just relax. We'll take a few moments here. You might even like to inch your feet slightly further away from your buttocks and just rest. And this is a perfectly acceptable variation of what we're going to do. So you might be happy here. But if you want to explore a little bit further, start by extending one leg away. It doesn't matter which one. I'm doing my left leg first. So extending this leg away, feeling the openness at the front of the pelvis. Here we're looking for that space where the leg joins the rest of the body and feeling openness there. So it's a space where often when we're moving through life, or if we're sitting a lot and driving or doing forward bending things, then we get quite closed in this space. This is a beautiful passive way to open that part of the body. So again, you might be happy here, or if you feel like you've got enough room to move a little bit more, you can bend the opposite knee in towards you and holding onto that knee either around the back of the thigh or using some kind of help like a tea towel or a scarf or a belt, or holding around the shin helps to further increase that sense of length down the straightened leg side of the body. And you might be happy here. And if you wish to, you can pivot on the back of your pelvis. Just draw the bent knee in and out to lightly tap the other foot to the floor. So your extended leg can just tap up and down gently. And it's really the shape you make doesn't change. So we're not trying to lengthen our foot into the floor and draw the knee into the chest. Once we get to this more passive shape, we're just allowing the legs to act as one unit. So when you pull one in, the other pulls up. It's like a seesaw motion. Sometimes people like a little sway of that long leg from side to side. So first you pull towards you with your bent knee to give yourself some space, and then sway the long leg from side to side. It can be much slower than I'm doing it. I tend to move more quickly than my body, and then well, than I should, perhaps. I don't know. Is that should in yoga? No, that's not. Coming back to center, just relaxing this leg down. We are going to let the bent knee come to the floor and then slide the long leg in again so that both knees are bent and the pelvis is equally supported on both sides. Notice how it feels, different left and right. And then we can extend the opposite leg long. So now my right leg is the long leg. And I'm just letting that leg be heavy into the mat. I'm not trying to pick it up. I'm trying to let my body rest onto the floor and this block, my heel rest onto the mat as much as I can let go into that. Soften down. You feel that openness down the right side of the pelvis or the opposite side of the pelvis. Just feeling the spaces, maybe noticing a gentle pull on the low abdomen, the muscles that are there. Maybe, maybe not. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to explore further, you can bend the opposite knee in towards you. Remember, you can hold around the back of the thigh. You can use a strap or a blanket or a belt to support, or you can hold around the shin. And we're just feeling our way into that sense of extra space that we get. If it feels too intense, just go back a stage. Breathe deeply a couple of times. Try and let your body relax here as much as possible. Heaviness is your friend here to help find that space in a passive way. For anyone who would like to work just that little bit deeper, then setting your legs in position and pivoting on the back of the pelvis to lightly tap the right heel to the mat. And it's really light. We're not thumping up and down. We don't want to jolt or jar the body in any way. So we're controlled in the movement by using our upper body for support. For those who would like to, you can set that knee slightly towards you, enough so you've got some space to sway the right leg from side to side. This has the effect of wiggling both sides of the pelvis. So it can be quite nice. It can also be the thing that you don't enjoy. So don't do it if you're not enjoying it. When you're ready, you can come back to the center. Just let that right heel find heaviness first. So the right leg switches off completely. Then we're letting the left foot find the floor. We're going to slide the right leg in. So both feet are on the floor, pelvis equally supported on both sides. And then our final thing is to see if we are comfortable with both legs long along the mat to open up both sides of the pelvis and the lower abdomen at the same time. Now, if you have been up on the block at its medium setting, then sometimes this is too intense. I actually quite enjoy it, but it's not for everybody. So particularly if it feels like a too firm of a push at the back of the pelvis, because the effect of gravity is just that little bit increased, a little bit less support, then turning the block to a lower setting and then gliding the legs long. Or if you're fed up of being up and your back doesn't enjoy it, with both legs long, simply take the block out and come all the way down to lying nice and straight on the floor. For those who would like to, you can reach your arms out or up. Wherever your arms are, just making sure that the elbows and the wrists find the floor. So it's no good to do this with tight shoulders and the elbows lifted. You just need to move the arms out to let your shoulders soften the arms to the mat. Enjoy a few deeper breaths here. Oh, should be quite the relief and release. Few softening, breathing. A few moments here. And then whenever you're ready, and certainly before it begins to feel uncomfortable, gliding your arms back down to your sides. Want to tip the toes to point upright, firm the legs and the belly just a touch to slide the heels in one at a time. Taking another moment here, just in this more supported bridging pose, and then as subtly as you can, moving as little as possible, lift the hips up to slide your block out and just let the hips slowly find the floor. Coming back to this more neutral shape should feel amazing. It should feel, hopefully for you, it feels great, but it might feel a little bit like the hips are descending through the floor, particularly if your hip flexors have been really tight. And you can explore again how it feels to just stretch out the legs, maybe do a few of those ankle circles, softening that movement of the thigh bones into the hips, going in both directions. And it might just feel good just to do relaxation right here, right now. But if you have it in you, and if you enjoy being on your front, then I'd recommend a few moments lying on your tummy, making a pillow out of your hands to rest your forehead down on. The legs are a reasonable distance apart, but with the toes turned slightly in and the heels turned slightly out. And then here, taking some longer, deeper breaths. You can hold this position for relaxation, for a whole relaxation if you want, if it's comfortable for you. You also might like a little sway of the hips from side to side, just a nestling of the pelvis into the floor. And if you notice that it's quite nice for the fronts of your thighs, you can bend your knees and just sway your feet from side to side with the feet above the knees or thereabouts. And that just helps to massage into the fronts of the thighs. Lots of people are really tight in the fronts of the thighs, just like they are in the backs of the thighs. So I'm just propping myself up to talk. You can be resting all the way down. So it's a really nice thing to do. It's a little bit like self-massage for that part of the body as well. In real life, many of us don't find ourselves on our tummies on the floor on a nice firm surface during the average day. So it helps from that point of view as well. If you'd like to, you can circle the feet around either opposite directions or the same direction so that the whole leg is moving from the knee in circles, going in the opposite direction whenever you're ready. And we will finish this practice today with the legs long on the mat, forehead on the floor, or you might be lying on your back still, that's fine. And we're just going to take 5 nice long deep breaths, releasing all the effort of our practice, softening the features of the face, letting go of effort from the buttocks, the pelvic floor, the backs of the thighs, the belly muscles, the space between the shoulder blades, the soles of the feet. And you might like to sigh out with your next exhalation. If you'd like to stay where you are for more relaxation, you can. But if you're ready to come up, just taking the hands under the shoulders, forehead to the floor, pressing through the arms to find a gentle child's pose, or just moving the hips slightly further back. For those who can't do child, simple cat-cow is always really, really nice. Taking a breath or two here on the way up to an upright position. Doesn't matter which position you choose. So I hope you've enjoyed this practice. I hope you feel good in your body from it. A little bit of strength, a little bit of space, a little bit of core training. And I will look forward to seeing you for another practice again soon. Namaste.